So you took a case earlier this year that I know had some emotional appeal to it. Can you tell me more about it?
Yeah, in March of this year I had an appointment with a lady who came in and sat in that chair, and she was a young mother, and she began to tell the story, and I could just see a lot of pain going on in her eyes. And she told me about her teenage son that just a few nights before had been involved in a really, really bad car accident caused by a drunk driver. And so she was really scared. There was a couple things that she was scared about. One is the prognosis was uncertain for her son. She didn't know whether he was going to make it. And two, and probably that was just as scary to her, is that she didn't have health insurance for him. So he had no ability to pay for the vast medical needs that he was going to need in order to get himself put back together. I mean, he was going to need several surgeries because his injuries were a broken leg, a broken clavicle, a partially severed carotid artery, and a brain injury. And so those are not the types of injuries you want to have when you don't have the resources to deal with it. So I knew this case wasn't going to be a case that works within the typical lawyer formula. We had to do something quickly, because we couldn't just have him lay there waiting for the money to come in. So a case in Texas can take 2 or 3 years to get to trial, and again, this client didn't have the time to sit around and wait to see if we could win at trial. And so I had to employ a different strategy. So that night I sat there and scratched out some notes, and what I decided to do was to be on that insurance company's radar screen every day. And I wasn't just sending them harassing emails. I would send them an email with an important piece of information. What did I learn about the client's prognosis that day? Did it get better? Did it get worse? What are his symptoms? Tell a story about what happened at the hospital room. How embarrassed he was when his friends came to visit him and he had to use a bedpan. We got a medical bill that day that was for an extraordinary amount. Those are the types of things that I'm relaying to the insurance company on almost a daily basis. Now, it takes a long time to get that type of information typically, so I decided that once a week, I put it on my calendar, I was going to personally drive to the hospital and get that information directly from the doctor's mouths, or get the new medical records or the medical bills, so that I could immediately send those on to the insurance company. When my client got out of the hospital, I decided that I was going to be present for some of those therapist meetings, because nothing really tells the story about a client's condition better than actually hearing the doctor talk to the client and the client respond, because medical bills are sterile records that don't really tell you anything, a bunch of codes. And I wanted to put myself in the best position to tell the story to the insurance company, and so that's why we did that. Fast forward a few months later, I was driving down the freeway and I got a call from the insurance adjuster with whom I'd been dealing on this case, and he said that he had met with the bigwigs at the insurance company and they had authorized him to make a substantial offer to settle the case. And I was really surprised. Even as hard as we had been working to get the case to that point, it's very unusual to get an early settlement offer from a case like that. We hadn't even filed suit yet. 2 hours later, that case was settled and the insurance company had agreed to pay my client several $1,000,000. And that's a happy ending, because my client now has the resources to pay for the substantial medical care that he's going to need for probably years to come. And I'll tell you what I was most proud about with that case, and that is the adjuster telling me at the end of the day that he had never seen his company, we're talking about a Fortune 500 insurance company, had never seen his company write a check of that size in such a short time frame after the accident. And so I think when I meet with a client, they should expect that their case is going to get that kind of personal care. And that's what we attempt to deliver.